Today we're going to be talking about principles of landscape design. How do you make a landscape flow? How do you establish a focal point? How do you establish continuity, uniformity, harmony in the landscape? These are all desirable features and a goal to which every landscape should attain. We're going to get down to brass tacks and talk about exactly how to accomplish those goals. My name is Durant Ashmore. I'm the owner of Durant Ashmore Landscape Nursery in Fountain Inn. We're landscape designers, landscape contractors, and we grow all the plants we use in our landscape installation. Let's go take a look and we'll see what I'm talking about. So now we follow the stone path into the fairy garden. From this point, you can see the landscape design principles at play. The first question that a landscape designer asks himself is, where is the focal point? And 99 times out of 100, in anyone's front yard, that focal point is going to be the front door. So we want to highlight the front door. We want to emphasize the front door. The last thing we want to do is block the front door. So how do we create a particular focal point? One way that we do that is to frame the focal point with two plants on either side of that area. We use our tallest plants on the ends with descending height towards the center. We extend the foreground planting. A neutral foreground, such as this lawn, is very important in establishing a focal point. So we take all of those factors into consideration. And when we have established the primary focal point, which again is usually the front door, we can establish additional focal points throughout the yard. For instance, like in the fairy garden, where we have these benches, and if you'll notice the plantings around the benches are very low, again with descending height towards the center. That is, one of the primary keys to doing that. As far as the overall plant layout is concerned, we look at groups and massed plantings. The biggest thing you want to avoid is a hodgepodge effect. It is very important that landscapes flow and they have continuity and they have harmony. Using the same plants on either ends of the yards, using similar plants in the midground, then the same plants in the foreground. All of this lets a landscape flow, it establishes harmony, and it lets the landscape blend. If you'll notice, there's not a lot of flowering plants at this moment. Most of these plants do flower, but plants that flower just flower for about 3 or 4 weeks out of the year, usually. However, the textures of the plants are constant. So it's very important that the textures of the different groups of plantings vary. And the textures are fine, medium, and coarse. The primary feature that distinguishes the texture of the plant basically is the size of the leaf. So the varying of the textures is one thing that is important in any landscape plant. You vary the heights, you vary the colors, you let everything blend together. Another landscape feature that landscape designers make use of is lawns in the landscape. Now, I am a lawn minimalist and I like to use as little lawn as possible. However, lawns definitely have their place in the landscape. In the backyard, as far as child's play is concerned, lawns are of paramount importance. And they also are important as far as a neutral foreground in front of a focal point. In this case, we're going to see how the lawn is used as a thread connecting the different features of the landscape. Let's follow the path of the lawn and see where it leads. So we followed the path of the lawn, past the pool area, and down to the lower level, which is the activity lawn. One thing to keep in mind with landscape design is form does follow function, the same as with architecture. And down below, we do have a play field. This area is used for soccer. The owner here is a former professional soccer player. He likes to play soccer in this area with his daughters. This area is also used for entertainment as well. As we follow the path back up to the center of the backyard, you'll see that we're using this path here as a drainage swale. This is a steep situation. We had to grade this backyard extensively so that it would be functional. With extensive grading like this, you have to worry about drainage and wash. So you'll see that we've channeled the water down the middle of the path here. Then we get into the swimming pool area, and the primary function here is just to provide an entertainment area for the family. As we look through the different aspects of this landscape, you'll notice continuity, harmony, uniformity. These are all elements that create a pleasing landscape. We don't want to have a hodgepodge effect. We want to avoid that at all costs. It creates a pleasing look, a landscape that can be enjoyed, and it's a landscape that I hope that you can pick up on some of the design elements we've talked about today so that you can utilize these in your own landscape. That's what brings a landscape together.